my video lecture series. Today we are going to start with a topic which is basically based on Griffith's experiment on bacterial transformation. Before we start with that, in case if you haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly do so. Anyways, starting with today's topic, so it basically deals with something which is called as Griffith's experiment. Now before we start with the experiment, some background about the person called as Frederick Griffith. So I'm going to write down over here. Frederick Griffith was basically a British medical officer, okay, and he performed this experiment on transformation. It is commonly called as Griffith's experiment on bacterial transformation. So that was the experiment which was basically conducted and he conducted this experiment in the year 1928. Okay, so now what is this experiment? Okay, why was this experiment done? What was the conclusion? All that we are going to see over here. Now first of all, when we start off with the experiment, Frederick Griffith basically used a microorganism which was a prokaryote. Okay, he used a bacterium which was called as Streptococcus pneumoniae. So let us write down the name, Streptococcus pneumoniae. This was the name of the bacterium which he used for his transformation experiment. Now this bacterium is also called as Diplococcus pneumoniae, and this bacterium basically causes the disease of pneumonia, okay, which is a respiratory disease, as all of you know. So he used this bacterium in his experiment. Now what Griffith did was, see, each bacterium has many different varieties, okay, we call them as strains. So now this Streptococcus pneumoniae has basically two kinds of strains. So if I point it out over here, there is one strain which is called as the S strain, okay, and the other one is called as the R strain. Okay, so there is something called as the S strain and there is something called as the R strain. S stands for smooth, so let me write it down over here, and R stands for rough. Now there are a few differences between both these strains, okay. I'll point out the differences. One of the differences is that the smooth strain is basically a virulent or a pathogenic strain. That means the smooth strain of Streptococcus pneumoniae causes pneumonia, whereas the rough strain of Streptococcus pneumoniae does not cause pneumonia. So it is non-virulent or it is non-pathogenic. Please remember this. So why do we call it as smooth strain? Why do we call it as rough strain? It is very simple. If you know the structure of a bacterial cell, if I draw the structure of a bacterial cell over here, okay, then a bacterial cell basically has got a cell membrane, correct, and then it has got cell wall, and the outermost covering, if you know, it is called as a capsule. So what I am drawing is this green colored structure which I am drawing, it is basically the capsule which is present, okay, and capsule is made up of many different materials, but this capsule is basically responsible for the toxicity that the bacterium produces, or it is responsible for the pathogenicity, or it is responsible for the disease producing nature, okay. If there was no capsule in the bacterium, if there would be no capsule, then it would not be toxic, it would not cause the disease, it would be non-virulent or it would be non-pathogenic. So please remember, the toxic proteins present in the capsule of the bacterium. Capsule is something which is present outside the cell wall. Okay, so there is cell membrane, then cell wall, and then there is capsule in bacteria. So this capsule gives the S strain its pathogenicity or the ability to cause the disease. Now if I talk about the R strain, the R strain doesn't have any capsule. So in case if I want to draw the R strain, I will rub off the capsule, as you can see over here, and the outermost covering in case of the R strain is the cell wall. So since the capsule is missing or it is not produced by the bacterium, obviously the bacterium is going to be non-pathogenic or it is going to be non-virulent. That means it cannot cause the disease. I hope you are getting this. So that is the difference. So there are two main differences. R strain, okay, let us write it down over here. R strain is basically non-pathogenic, okay, or it is also called as non-virulent, or it is also called as avirulent. That means it cannot cause the disease, whereas the S strain is pathogenic or it is virulent. That means it is causing the disease. Which disease? Pneumonia. The second difference is the S strain has got a capsule present on its cell wall, whereas the R strain does not have the capsule, so the capsule is absent. Now why do we call the one with the capsule as the S strain and one without the capsule as R strain? See, the capsule has a slimy appearance, okay, it has a very smooth appearance, and because of that smooth appearance we call the S strain as smooth strain, because the capsule is making it appear very smooth, okay, whereas the one which is not having the capsule, it is not appearing as smooth as the S strain. So it is basically only because of the appearance of capsule which gives it a smooth appearance. That is why we are calling the strain having the capsule called as smooth, whereas the one which is not having the capsule, it is rough. So I hope these differences are clear. So the experiments were conducted using these two strains of Streptococcus pneumoniae or Diplococcus pneumoniae, and these experiments are called as Griffith's experiments on transformation. Correct? Now Griffith did not know this, okay, Griffith did not know what to expect from these experiments, okay. So let us see what were the steps. Now for these experiments, what he did was, he did not use humans, instead he used mice, okay. And what he did was, he basically injected different combination of strains of Streptococcus in these mice to see how they reacted to the bacterium. So let us go to that part. So I am going to basically erase this part off. Now let us just scroll down, okay, and now let us come to the next part, which is the actual experiment. So steps of the experiment. Now basically the experiment was performed in 4 steps, okay. So let me write down the steps over here. The first step is, so what he did was, he first of all took the R strain, okay. It was obviously a live R strain, that means all the R strains Streptococcus pneumoniae were alive, and he basically injected that R strain into a few mice, okay. The number is not specified, just imagine them to be 5 or 6 or 7, and in all these mice he injected the R strain. So let me write it down. Step number 1, okay, live R strain of Streptococcus pneumoniae injected in mice. So what would have happened? What do you think? Since the R strain was injected, R strain is non-pathogenic, so it would not cause any disease, so the mice will not develop pneumonia. So because of that, all the mice will survive and all of them would be alive, and it would make no difference to their health. So let me write down the conclusion. The conclusion over here is all of them survived. So all the mice survived. Correct? Very simple. Now coming to the second step. In the second step, instead of the live R strain, now Griffith took the live S strain, and now he took another set of mice, not the mice which he had used in the first step. Even if he took the mice which he used in the first step, it would not make any difference. But please remember, for all these steps, he is taking different set of fresh mice. So just imagine he is having 16 mice. Out of them, 4 he is taking for the first step. The remaining 4 he is taking for the another step. Then 4 for the third step. And the last 4 for the last step. Is this clear? So none of the mice are being repeated. So a new set of mice, and into that mice he injects a live S strain. So what would have happened? What do you think? So when you inject, when Griffith injected the live S strain, obviously they cause pneumonia inside mice, okay, and because of the pneumonia, later on all the mice died, okay. So live strain injected in mice. So what is the result of that? All of them die due to pneumonia. So I hope this is clear. Everybody understands what is happening. Now coming to the third step of Griffith's experiment. Now in this third step, what Griffith did was, he took the strain bacteria and he basically heat killed it. Now what do you mean by heat killed? So let me write it down over here. He took heat killed strain. So you just imagine that strain is put in water and that water is boiled. So what happens is, everybody knows boiling kills the bacteria. So that is an example of heat killed strain. That means you have killed the bacterium using excessive heat. Correct? So these bacteria which have been heat killed, he injected them into mice. So again a fresh set of mice. So let me write it down over here. Heat killed strain injected in mice. Now what would have happened? Obviously, since all the bacteria in the strain were heat killed, they would not cause pneumonia because they were already dead. So all the mice would have survived, and that was the result which Griffith got. So all of them survived. I hope you are understanding this. Clear? So these first three steps are fairly straightforward, very easy to understand. So he took live strain, R strain, live S strain, okay, and then he took the heat killed strain. Now he might have used heat kill R strain also, but anyway, since the live R strain does not cause any disease, it is no point in taking the heat killed R strain, because since the live one does not cause any disease, obviously the heat killed one will not cause any disease. So let us not write that down. Now the last step is very important. So I am going to scroll down, okay, and come to the last step. Now in the fourth step, he took a mixture of the R and S strain. But pay attention to what he did over here. So in the fourth step, Griffith took live R strain. Okay, so he took the live R strain of Streptococcus pneumoniae and he took the heat killed S strain. Okay, so now there is a mixture of dead and alive bacteria. The alive bacteria or the living bacteria belong to the R strain. The dead bacteria belong to the S strain. And this mixture he injected into mice. Okay, so let me write it down over here. Injected in mice. What do you think would have happened? So what Griffith thought was, since R strain doesn't cause any pneumonia and S strain heat killed, when it is introduced into the mice, it does not cause any pneumonia. So obviously the mixture of both of these should also not cause pneumonia and all the mice should be alive, right? But when he injected this mixture, he found out that after some time all of them developed pneumonia and they died. So this result is very similar, or it is exactly the result that we see in the second step. So let me write it down. All of them developed pneumonia and died. So you can see this is something which was surprising for Griffith, and even when we are learning it right now, it is surprising that individually the R strain and the heat killed strain, they do not cause anything. They do not cause pneumonia in the mice. Okay, then how come when both of them are being mixed, the mice are developing pneumonia and they are dying? So this is what was basically explained later on by a few people. Okay, they were called as Avery, MacLeod and McCarty. But what was actually happening over here was something which was called as transformation. Okay, so let us just move sideways and let us see what is exactly happening. what was exactly happening was something called as transformation. Now what is transformation? See, pay attention over here. I am going to draw both the R strain and the S strain. On the left hand side, I am drawing the R strain version of Streptococcus pneumoniae. Okay, the R strain version is basically having the cell wall. I am not showing any capsule, and since every bacterium is a prokaryote, the genetic material is called as nucleoid. I think you know what a nucleoid is. Nucleoid is basically a DNA. There is no proper nucleus present inside a prokaryotic organism. So similarly, if I show it over here, I am going to show this as a nucleoid, correct? Nucleoid is basically the DNA or the genetic material present in bacteria, since they are prokaryotes. Now on the left hand side, I am going to draw S strain bacteria. Okay, now S strain bacteria of Streptococcus pneumoniae, obviously they have a capsule. So again, I am going to show this, which is going to be the cell wall, correct? And I am going to show the DNA of the S strain in a different color so that it becomes easier for people to understand. And what I am going to do is I am going to use this color, which is purple, and this is the DNA of S strain. But I also have to draw the capsule, so I am going to draw the capsule outside the cell wall, and that is going to be in yellow color because the S strain is capsulated, or it has a capsule covering it, correct? Now what happens is, in the fourth step, the live R strain was mixed with heat killed S strain. Now what happens when you heat kill the bacteria? See, when you boil water, suppose if in that boiling water the S strain is present, that excessive heat basically destroys all the different parts of the bacteria. So if I were to heat this S strain, what would happen is, because of the heat, the different parts of the S strain would get destroyed. For example, this capsule which is present, that would get destroyed because of the heat. So I am rubbing it off. The cell wall would get destroyed. Okay, the organelles would get destroyed. So most of the things you can see, they would get destroyed because of the heat, except the DNA. The DNA does not get affected by heat. It is heat resistant, please remember. So apart from the DNA of the S strain, everything else which you see, it is getting destroyed by the heat. So now what is essentially remaining is the DNA or the nucleoid of the S strain. Let me write down this word nucleoid, because that word is also important. I am writing it down, nucleoid of the R strain. Okay, and this is nucleoid of the S strain. So now when you mix the heat killed S strain and R strain, the free floating DNA of the S strain comes in contact with the R strain, and please remember, bacteria have this property of absorbing a foreign DNA. So what happens is, this S strain DNA, when it comes close to the R strain or the live R strain, this live R strain bacterium absorbs the DNA of the S strain. So this, when they are mixed together, it will be absorbed by the R strain. So it is going to basically enter into the R strain. It is not going to enter on its own. Please remember, the R strain is absorbing it. Okay. And now if you see, the DNA of the S strain has been absorbed by the R strain. Now what is going to happen is, now there are two nucleoids or two DNA present, but the DNA of the S strain is much more powerful compared to the DNA of R strain. So it basically hijacks the DNA of the R strain, or it takes over the DNA of the R strain. So what I am going to do is, to show that the DNA of S strain is much more powerful, I am just temporarily going to rub the DNA of S strain off. So basically now you are having R strain, but inside the R strain, which DNA is functional? DNA of S strain, because it is more powerful. Now what happens? See, the difference between R strain and S strain is the presence and absence and presence of a capsule. Now why is the capsule produced in the S strain? That is because of the DNA, because DNA contains that information. Now the R strain has got DNA of S strain, as you can see in this diagram. So because of the DNA of S strain, now this bacterium will also produce a capsule, and the R strain begins to produce a capsule, and as soon as it produces a capsule, now this R strain has become converted into S strain, and because of the capsule it becomes pathogenic, and because of the pathogenicity it causes pneumonia, and because of pneumonia the mice die. So this is called transformation. The R strain has been transformed into S strain. Are you getting that? And please remember, for this transformation to occur, the R strain has to be alive. If I would have mixed heat killed R strain and heat killed S strain, then the DNA of S strain would not have entered R strain. Because first of all, if both of them would have been heat killed, obviously the entire bacterium of R strain would also have been destroyed. Correct? And the other thing is, for to absorb the foreign DNA, the bacterium has to be alive. That is why the live R strain absorbs the DNA of S strain. Please remember, one bacterium is not absorbing another bacterium. It is not that the R strain is absorbing the S strain. No, it is just absorbing the foreign DNA. That means it is absorbing the DNA of the S strain. And then when it has both the DNA present, obviously the powerful DNA will capture the weaker one and it will show its effect. Very simple. So although both the DNAs are present in the R strain, the S strain DNA is more powerful. It will cause the capsule to grow. Once the capsule is formed, it is toxic. It will cause pneumonia. Simple. And apart from the capsule and the nucleoid, everything else in both the bacteria is same, R strain and S strain. So then it becomes S strain. Simple. So this is called transformation. Now it doesn't mean that all the R strain bacteria got converted into S strain. No. Suppose if we are having 100 bacteria of R strain, maybe 40 or 50 got transformed, but they are enough to cause pneumonia. Remaining 50 would have remained R strain. It is not compulsory that all the R strain bacteria will accept the foreign DNA. No, some of them might reject, but some of them might accept. Those who accept will get transformed. So I hope this is clear. What is the meaning of transformation? Transformation means a bacterium has the capacity to absorb the foreign DNA of another bacterium, and that causes it to become transformed or change into another strain. This is basically called as transformation, and that is why this is called as Griffith's experiment on transformation. Now Griffith did not know what was causing this transformation. He could not prove that the nucleoid was causing this, so he suggested that there was something which was called as the transforming principle, and what he said was that this transformation is occurring because of something which is called as the transforming principle, which we now know that the transforming principle is basically the DNA, but he did not know that. It was later on proved by 3 people, and the experiment was called Avery MacLeod McCarthy experiment. I am going to make the next video based on that. So I hope this is clear. So Griffith was the first person to basically suggest that the genetic material in bacteria is DNA. He could not prove that, but he could show that there is something because of which transformation is occurring in bacteria, and he did it with the help of mice and 2 strains of Streptococcus pneumoniae. So I hope this experiment is clear, and with that we complete this first experiment. Okay, so this experiment is basically coming under the heading of DNA as genetic material. This was one of the first experiments performed to prove that DNA is the genetic material in bacteria. Next we are going to study Avery MacLeod and McCarthy experiment, who proved that in Streptococcus pneumoniae or in bacteria DNA is the genetic material. Okay, and then we are going to study some other experiments also. So next video is going to be on Avery MacLeod McCarthy experiment. I hope this video is clear. I hope transformation is clear. Okay, and with that I will end this lecture. If you have yet not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe. Share the channel, share the videos with your friends. If you like the video, put in a like, do comment. Okay, and thanks a lot.